So I was having a chat the other week with one of my friends who just happens to be a stuntman, and he has been a good friend of mine for a little while. I've known him a good few years now, and we were just talking about life in general. But he was asking me how my modeling was going. So for those of you who don't know, I just started modeling in January 2024. I just signed with a big agency. We were talking about that, and he was like, "Well, how's that going?" I said, well, I've not had any paid work. I've been to a few castings, and I reflected on those castings and said that some of them went well. I talked about my Burberry casting, which I actually got down to the last couple of people. I think it was my second casting. I was pretty pleased with myself that I got that far, even though even though I wasn't successful in the actual casting to get that part in that fashion show that they did. So, I mean, because that would have been that would have kicked off everything with a bang, really, if I had got that Burberry casting. But what I said to my stuntman friend is that, on reflection, I need to be grateful for how far I've come. I took a moment to stop and look at how far I've come in terms of back in 2023, like the fall of 2023. It must have been like September, October time when I was in his room, in his bedroom, and we were just hanging out. And at that time, I was just exploring the possibility of getting into modeling. And on that particular day, I said to him, "Hey man, I really want to be a model. Like I want to actually give this a good go." And at this time, I actually had already a meeting scheduled with another modeling agency, which was also a very big modeling agency. Unfortunately, I didn't get into it. They said they'd let me know, and they never did, which is pretty brutal. Modeling is pretty brutal. You get a lot of rejection. You get rejected more than you get accepted, but that is literally just life, isn't it? And it's probably more brutal than actual life because it's all based on appearance and it can be quite superficial. This was in October time. And a month later, I get a message on Instagram by a model scout for this big agency that I'm now signed with. And they were like, "We think you have potential, come on in." And I went and met them. And on my main channel, I talk a bit more about this. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the whole process of how I kind of got signed and what that involved. But what this video is about today is sometimes we are so focused on the outcome of where we want to be, and that's not an issue in itself. Like, we should have goals. We should be like, this is where I want to be in the next couple of months, and I'm going to take these steps to get there. I'm going to take these action of steps to get there. Does that even make sense? I don't know. I'm going to take action to do these steps to get to where I want to be. But sometimes on our route to the destination, we forget to pause and look back, look at all those steps we have climbed up, and look at how far we've come. Like, we don't enjoy the journey enough. And I said to my stuntman friend, I said, "Look, actually, I remember sitting in your room, having a chat with you, saying, I want to be a model." And back then it was just like so abstract. I was like, I didn't know I was going to be a model. I didn't know I was going to get into an agency. Like, it was just so far from where I am now. If you haven't achieved yet what you want to achieve, instead of mulling about it and being upset about it, you should stop, pause, and look back at how far you've come. Because it was only a few months ago that I was in my friend's bedroom and we were talking about the possibility of me modelling, and it was just so far from reality at that time. And now I'm here where I am. I've been to a few castings, and yes, I'm not where I want to be just yet. I'm not booking jobs. I haven't had my first paid gig yet. I haven't had my first paid shoot, but I'll tell you what, this video is also a promise to myself that I'm going to get a paid gig. I'm going to be successful at this modeling venture. I'm not going to give up, because if you guys know me, you'll know that I'm as stubborn as heck and I don't give up and I never back down and I never surrender. So even though at the moment it's looking pretty hopeless, I'm going to stick in there. I'm going to book my first job, and I'm going to book more jobs, and I'm going to book my first campaign. I'm going to travel, and I may or may not become a supermodel. I don't know. Like, I want to pursue this full time. And you might laugh, you might be like, "Who's this geezer sitting in a little room recording on his phone? Like, he's not going to be a supermodel." But I've decided I'm going to document my journey. If you guys aren't where you want to be just yet, if you have a goal in mind, please look back and see how far you've come. But also don't forget that there is still mileage to cover in front of you to get to where you want to be. So don't stop trudging, don't stop fighting. Keep going until you get to where you want to be. Until next time, guys.